going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, the women's volleyball team from USC had a big time upset this last weekend against number 4 Washington State, who's number 4 obviously in the country, but it went the full game, 5 sets, and yeah, they're able to dig out and win that game. So congrats to them. Definitely a big thing heading towards the playoffs soon, or at least the tournament. So we'll see if they officially get in or not with a big victory like that. And then an ex-USC player, DeAnthony Melton of the Philadelphia 76ers, went off in one of his last preseason games. Had 29 points. I think he had 6 threes that game and was doing very well on defense. I knew when he was with Phoenix a few seasons back ago, I was like, I wish the Lakers had him, and I think he got traded to Memphis, and he did pretty good there, and I forget if he was somewhere else in between then, but yeah, he's become a really good 3-and-D type of player, and of course he's doing pretty well as of right now, and he should be a good rotational piece for the 76ers in their season coming up, which starts actually tomorrow, the NBA season, so definitely looking forward to that. Of course, the Lakers have to go on the road and play against a team that knocked them out of the playoffs, the champion Denver Nuggets, but hopefully we'll be able to, ruin their celebration of their ring ceremony, hopefully. Then when it came to the number 1 player in the 2025 college basketball recruiting classes, AJ Debonsa, hopefully I'm saying that correct. I remember mentioning him a few videos back that he would be most likely considering USC, and maybe Duke might be getting in the mix now because he is reclassifying a year sooner. And of course he was actually around USC this week because they had like a countdown of craziness like Duke does, where they kind of get all the teams together, both the men's and women, to do like intros to come out to different songs and have fun and all that, and then did some like type of, I don't think the men's basketball team scrimmage, but they did kind of like a skills competition and certain other things like a dunk contest as well. So they had fun with it, had a DJ there and everything. But yeah, pretty sure he was there. Hopefully it wasn't still in town for the game for football, because that sucked, but we'll definitely get into that later. But yeah, it's pretty cool that he's already taking visits to USC, and hopefully, like I said, they have a chance, and maybe Duke as well as a second team. And a top 50 overall player in the class of 2025, the linebacker Elijah Melendez recently put USC in his top 10, so that's obviously cool. Like I said, with these future guys still putting USC or even Duke in their final teams, it's definitely looking good for both those coaches. So hoping the best for all these guys heading to those respective teams. And then when it comes to Drake London of the Atlanta Falcons, yes, he recently had, over this last weekend, 100 career receptions with the Falcons, which is pretty cool because it's only his second season and he already had that. Yeah, some guys can kind of almost get that earlier than this, but I know he's had some bad quarterback play, so even for him to reach this milestone in his young career is pretty good. So congrats to Drake London out there in Atlanta. And Isaiah Collier, the top freshman for the USC Trojans basketball team, was also recently named for the Bob Cousy Award watch list, which goes out to like the top 20 point guards in the nation to watch list for that at the beginning of the season. So that's pretty cool for him to still be getting those kind of acknowledgments ahead of the season. So definitely looking forward to seeing what he can bring to this team, because I think they recently had a scrimmage against UNLV and they looked pretty good in some of those highlights that I saw. That, especially him, he looked like he was ready to go. So definitely looking forward to what they can bring in the near future. And then ex-Duke player Marquise Bolden, who's kind of been in and out of the NBA, kind of playing overseas as well. I remember I talked about him way back ago, months ago, where he had a big game overseas, and apparently that probably earned him enough to get onto the Milwaukee Bucks roster as far as a two-way contract. So at least he will be able to play with a regular team or the G League team, but either way, it's still a chance for him to get a regular roster spot towards the end of the season if he does end up performing well. So definitely looking forward to that. And then Mackenzie Mbaku, I believe that's how you say his last name, who is an ex-Duke recruit commitment coming into college next season. He had decommitted because of certain other players that were committing to Duke at the time, and it was understandable just because of how talented those guys were compared to him, apparently, but he just thought there wasn't any room for him, which is understandable. But he went and decided to commit to Indiana, which is a pretty good program in itself. But I think he recently got arrested the other day because he wouldn't leave a fast food restaurant drive-through lane or something like that. So maybe Duke dodged a bullet here in the end. But yeah, hoping it's nothing crazy, or hoping the best for him. But yeah, it just kind of sucks that it's already problems happening for him so early in his career. And sadly, yes, the Anaheim Ducks have gone on a 3-game losing streak. It probably would be more. I could be wrong, but I think I talked about their last win. But yeah, they've lost the last 3 games, which sucks. And hoping they will turn it around at some point soon here. But yeah, it's already starting to look crappy for them. So like I said, hoping for the best as you see those crappy losing scores right there to start off this video. And then, yes, when it came to Blink-182, yes, apparently they recently just posted on all their social media that they will be going on tour again next year, starting, I think it's around June, going for the rest of that year. And it's pretty crazy because, yeah, you pretty much, I think they're at that When We Were Young festival this last weekend, so they did a bunch of that stuff, and I'm pretty sure it was sold out. It looked pretty crazy from all the pictures that I saw, people I follow and other people on social media putting stuff up. But yeah, I guess they just feel the bug. They feel like wanting to get out there and I guess capitalize on making as much money as they can, obviously. But of course, this always goes into the part of where Tom DeLonge and the other 2 members always have a problem where they end up touring too much, and then, you know, Tom's not able to do certain things that he wants to. But excuse me, as I've said recently to somebody, that I was even surprised Tom was able to get his latest Angels and Airways album out a year or 2 ago and finish directing his movie also, and still was in the process of joining Blink-182 and going on the world tour and all that stuff, and still completing a record for them, and still no bad blood has happened since. So I guess it's working out better this time around, which is good. More communication is what I like, but maybe I'll have a chance to go see him next year because I think they come to LA and they're still in San Diego, a couple other local areas to me. So definitely looking forward to see if I do end up over there or not. And then, yeah, sadly, Duke football did meet their first loss of the season this last weekend. Was it their first loss? I forget. But no, it's their second loss because they lost to Notre Dame. But yes, they were in this game from the get-go. I mean, they did lose like 38-20 if I'm not mistaken. But even at the end of the third quarter, it was like 20-17. It was a close game. I think they were even winning at that point. But they didn't score anything in the fourth because pretty much around that time, Riley Leonard had already went out. He gutted it out and started that game and was doing enough to at least still get the offense moving and doing everything he could. He wasn't really running, but still passing the ball well enough, and the running game was working. But sadly, once the backup came in, it was kind of the same story. It's just you're playing against a better team, and the FSU capitalized on that and ended up getting that victory late in that game. And I think Duke dropped down to like number 20 in the AP poll, which isn't that bad. But I guess they just understood that they were in a tough situation, and they did play pretty well most of that game. So I guess they didn't, dock them down that many points. But I think they play against Louisville, who's also a ranked team as well this weekend coming up. So that's going to be a big-time matchup also. So hoping they will get back on the right track, and hopefully Riley Leonard is not as hurt. I know most of the rest of the game, they kept showing him on the sideline trying to get ready and warmed up. He just didn't look right running and stuff. But hopefully, if it is something too serious, that he doesn't push it to where he ends up hurting himself to, go into next season where he's still hurt. But either way, hoping for the best here. And yes, had the trifecta. I could complete the quadruple if my fantasy team doesn't do well tonight. I know I have one more player, so does the person I'm playing against, and it's like a 10-point game right now. So, but yeah, Chargers did lose as well. After USC's game, I kind of just felt like physically I couldn't watch any of my teams lose again, and it was just getting to me more physically than anything, so I just didn't even bother watching this game. And luckily I didn't, because the Chargers looked like they were in this game for quite a bit after I saw the highlights after this game. And I think around the third quarter, it was like, I think even around halftime, it was still 24-17. But after that, the Chargers did only give up 7 points, and the final score was like 31-17. But they didn't score anything after halftime, which sucks too. But I don't know what's the thing. I guess the defense figured out something against Mahomes in that game, but they obviously didn't do enough because Travis Kelce still had like over 170 plus yards, and I think Mahomes had close to 400 or something like that yards passing. I could be wrong, but it just felt like that. But yeah, they try to make plays here and there, and Herbert had a lot of turnovers, a couple tip balls here and there, a couple bad plays, and yeah, the Chargers tried to make a comeback in the end, but it just wasn't enough. But yeah, luckily I wasn't having to go through that physically with my body, because like I said, I think I'm kind of done with this season of watching my teams live. I'll just wait for the highlights just because, yeah, it's just too much now. Don't want to deal with any other issues coming up. But yeah, sucks. I know a lot of people are saying fire Staley, and now people are finally saying fire Tom Telesco, the GM. I've been saying that more the past couple years, even before he hired Brandon Staley as head coach. And if they would have gotten a better GM, they probably would have hired somebody better sooner, like a Robert Saleh or a Brian Dable, other coaches like that are having success right now, even though they have crappier teams too. But they just look a bit more positive with their teams than what Staley does as of right now. But either way, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, we'll get into the USC stuff right now. Alrighty, to finish this video off, yes, sadly the Trojans did lose on a late last-second field goal that Utah got to end it 34-32. USC even dropped down to number 24 in the AP poll, which I was kind of surprised. I just thought they would just take them out because they were already like number 18, but I guess they thought since they had a chance to win, and they were leading at one point finally at the end of that game. But yeah, it was just weird overall, just because, yeah, I think if you go back to like 2021, it's like 4 straight losses to this team, which is pretty crazy because this is not a team that USC has always played, and they were never in the same conference until they finally came. When was it 9 or 2012 when Colorado and Utah came into the Pac-10 at the time? But yeah, they were always kind of back and forth. It was like whoever had the home field advantage won, but then yeah, lately it's just been all Utah. And yeah, it kind of sucks, especially since Utah didn't have their main Trojan killer, as they call him, Cam Rising, and even their top tight end, Brant Kuithe, who a few years ago was great, even against USC. I still think he's a good draft pick, but who knows? He might end up staying another year in college along with Rising. So luckily, USC won't have to play them again next year unless they meet in like a bowl game. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy how so much power one team has over your team, and they haven't even been part of your history or anything like that, especially your football history. But yeah, it's just pretty crazy, especially like Caleb, when you look at his numbers that they put up when it's him facing teams that aren't ranked in the top 25 versus when they are ranked in the top 25, especially like the past 5 games or something like that. It's been like pretty night and day, like how much of a superstar he looks against those crappy teams compared to, you know, the other top legitimate teams where he doesn't look so good. And I thought maybe one of those games was, I don't know if like Tulane and Notre Dame and UCLA last year were a part of those top 25 games, but yeah, it just seems like maybe just this year versus the top 25, he's just been pretty crappy, and definitely looks like he's not gonna win a second straight Heisman, so that sucks. I mean, USC looks like they're not gonna make it to the Final Four in the college football playoff, but they still technically have a chance to make the Pac-12 tournament or championship if they win out, and they have to beat Oregon and Washington and hope for some other stuff to happen, and obviously beat UCLA at the end of the year. And I think they get Cal this week, which I think they already opened as double-digit favorites betting-wise, but there were 7-point favorites betting-wise against Utah. That's how much Vegas thought of Utah this last weekend, and of course Utah ended up winning. And even when you go back to, yeah, there was a bad personal foul on Bear Alexander, the defensive lineman for USC. At the end of that last drive, I think it was a third down. I could be wrong, but he ended up hitting like face mask to the quarterback, and it wasn't like that crazy of a play where I thought they would have called a personal foul or roughing the passer at that time, but because it was face mask to face mask, I understand why. There were plenty of opportunities, like they let the quarterback Barnes run for like 20 plus yards from like the 50-yard line down into like the 20 to make it an even easier kick, and that was like left like around 5 or 6 seconds left, and Utah was basically like, yeah, let's just get this win, whatever, we'll go out for the kick. And USC had a timeout left, and I'm like, I don't know if you need to take this timeout. Let's just let him think you're going to take the timeout and kind of play mind games like that. And of course they take the timeout, but as the refs are stopping the play, the long snapper still hikes the ball, and it hits the guy who catches the ball to spot it for the kicker right in the head. And it's like they weren't paying attention, so who knows if that play still happens that way, and Utah misses it and USC ends up winning by 1. But once again, there are those times, even Chargers have that too, where they take certain timeouts that they shouldn't and leave a certain amount of time left, where if they didn't, it would have been fine. I know people talk about a 2-point conversion that USC was trying to go for, because I think at that time they were down by 5. So they went for 2, didn't get it, but if they had those 2 extra points, and Utah's basically kicking that field goal for overtime and not for the win. But it was still a bad play because they already screwed themselves, because they basically started in the middle but then forced everybody to run to one side, and so it's easier for a good defense to stop a play like that. Just got to keep Caleb in the middle and have the play design there of crossing routes or something, at least, not just focus everything on one side of the touchdown area or the red zone. But either way, yeah, it sucked. You kind of felt like they were going to get the victory, and then a couple of miscues here and there, and then boom, it's done. And of course he kicks it right down the middle. Yeah, that's how it goes. And of course they're talking crap about Caleb, and some people are saying that maybe he should not play anymore to save himself to still be the number 1 pick and not get injured and all that stuff. But that's the problem. Like, people are saying all this stuff, and people are saying those people are dumb for saying that, and then yet we still haven't heard anything from Caleb Williams as of this point. From what I know Tuesdays or Wednesdays is usually when players talk to the media, and even after that game, usually after games, whether a win or a loss, USC has at least 2 players to talk with the media, with the head coach, Lincoln Riley, after the game in the press conference. But this game, I think it was the first time where no players were involved. And I know even the last game, when it was a loss to Notre Dame, Caleb wasn't there. And of course, now he wasn't there again for the second straight loss and game in a row, which doesn't look good in my opinion. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll say a wry comment, and if he is, have to talk in front of the media and those interviewers and reporters and say it doesn't bother him and nothing is. But there's definitely something that's bothered him. I know he still has his pinky wrapped up on his throwing hand, and I don't know if that's why some of the throws are bad this year, especially since he had that injury. Especially ever since then, it's just been up and down for him, his consistency. And I don't know why he always is trying to go for the big plays down the field. There are always, whenever he does that and he misses, there's always an underplay that he could have gone either the first down or close to it, and they could have gone for it on that 3rd or 4th down to be able to convert it and keep the drive going. But I don't know why he's always constantly trying to go for the big play. It just never works out, it seems like. So either way, I don't know. It's against Cal. It should be an easier game to digest, especially physically. Because like I said, after these games, I'm just kind of like, it's just too much anger and tension, all that stuff physically, and you're just like, you're out of it the next couple hours after the game, which is dumb because you're just sitting there watching. So I'm either going to take a break from watching, especially the Chargers. I'm kind of done watching, even though they get the Bears this weekend, who will most likely be without their top quarterback, Justin Fields, again. But they just recently beat the Raiders this last weekend with their backup quarterback, who's a Division II guy. So who knows? That could be either a great game or a crappy game, knowing how the teams have been playing this year. So either way, we'll see. I might keep myself football free this weekend, but you never know. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.